Hey guys, welcome back. This is Coach KP. I hope you enjoyed the earlier video, and towards the end of that video, I said I would guide you towards two scenarios that will really help you see what I'm talking about in terms of radical self-acceptance, and that's what we're going to do in this video. But before we go into these two meditative scenarios, what we are going to do now is I'm going to try to answer these two questions that you may have in mind, because I get these questions a lot. And the questions are, when I talk about radical self-acceptance, there's two questions, and that's what these two scenarios that I keep mentioning are going to try to answer. But let me verbalize without a meditation first, so that you understand where I'm coming from. The first question I get asked around radical self-acceptance is, what if I have done something so heinous to other people, to hurt other people, whether it's knowingly or unknowingly? How can I accept myself out of that, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing that I get a lot is, what if something so bad has been done to me that I cannot accept that fact? Hence, I cannot accept myself entirely because of what was done to me. I feel so broken, right? And that makes me not feel whole. So these are the two things that I keep hearing. And in my book, and Incomplete Guide to Self-Acceptance, I have two scenarios, and I'm going to, you don't need to buy this book. If you want, you can. It's on Amazon. It's called An Incomplete Guide to Self-Acceptance. But I will speak verbatim these two meditations so that you don't necessarily have to buy the book. So don't worry about that. Before going into this meditation, I will say that there may be some very strong emotions that you may encounter as we go into this. And I want you to allow yourself first to allow any of what's coming up for you to be okay. Okay? Even if it's really crappy feeling, I don't want you to suppress that. And that's the biggest thing here, is do not suppress anything that's coming up. And if it's really overwhelming, guys, feel free to pause the video or turn it off for the day and come back another day, okay? Look, I mean, we may have some very deep feelings, traumas that we may not have experienced or processed very well. You may need the help of your psychologist to process some of this, okay? And that's all okay. You may need support system. You may need to reach out to another brother that's doing this course with you to say, hey, I did this Coach KP's meditation and made me feel really crappy. It's all valid. Your feelings are all valid, okay? All right. So, if you're ready, I'm going to talk about two scenarios in this exercise. Scenario one should be used if you are working on accepting the hurt you have caused others. Okay? So if you've caused hurt to other people, that's scenario one. And I want you to do both of these meditations one time and then come back and do whatever you feel like doing as you progress. Okay? Scenario two is applicable should be used if you are working on accepting the hurt you have received from others. So we are going to go into scenario one right now. All right. So allow yourself a quiet space for both of these scenarios to play out, and allow yourself whatever's coming up, allow it to come up. Don't suppress it. If you start to feel overwhelmed by it, take deep breaths. That's going to definitely help you, and try to stay in the present moment, okay? All right, so scenario one. Think of the most horrible thing you have ever done that has hurt others or yourself. All right, so I'm going to give you a second to think of the most horrible thing that you have ever done that has hurt others or yourself. And this could be knowingly or unknowingly, okay? So pause this video for a second and really think about that if you have to. So let's move on to the first step. The first step, you set the intention to liberate yourself from the effects of this event. All right, so let's set an intention, and we can do this by placing your palm on your chest or on your heart or on your throat chakra, and you just set the intention to liberate yourself from the effects of this event. Of the event where you have done the most horrible thing to hurt another person. Now, the second step to this is to complete this exercise, go back to the time when it happened and replay the event as if it was happening again. So you want to go back in time and replay the event as if it was happening again. As you are going back, you start to recollect the memories and visualize as vividly as possible the scenario, as if you were physically present and watching this process unfold in its entirety. Okay, so go back into time and visualize as vividly as possible, as if you were physically present and watching this process unfold. What events preceded this event? What event preceded this particular event? How exactly did this event unfold? What were you doing at the time? And what were you thinking at the time? Okay, I really want you to try and be in that moment. What were your feelings? What were you feeling as that situation was unfolding for you? How did you react during the event? Okay, what was you causing harm to this other person making you feel? And what are any other details you can think about of this event? You bring that up into consciousness and really allow your feelings to unfold and feel those feelings. All right, so take a few deep breaths and let this scenario play out as vividly as possible. All right, slowly, if you can, if you need to pause this video, and if it's still playing, if the scenario is still playing out, pause this video and feel free to continue feeling those feelings. But if you have finished playing the scenario out, now you slowly come back and think if this event that you may or may not have gone back and felt in the same way that you're doing right now, was it exactly as you had pictured before this visualization? You know, how about the intensity of the feelings? How hard was it for you to feel these feelings? I want you to really feel this and write this down. Okay, write this down as you're feeling these feelings, as these things are coming up real time, right? Do you feel more or less of an emotional charge than you had thought you would have about this feeling? Okay, I want you to write that down. After you are done recollecting the event exactly as it happened, write down what you went through and how you currently feel about it. Okay, that's important for you to do. And those of you that are doing this exercise for the first time, you may experience some very intense emotions, very intense emotional reactions. The idea here is not to judge these emotions as bad or negative or, whatever. And you should definitely not suppress these emotions or judge yourself for past actions or the present feelings that you're having about these past actions. Let it just play out. Let these emotions come up. You just rub up against it. rub up against it. And if you need to, pause this video right now and just close your eyes. Close your eyes and feel those feelings. Okay? Allow yourself that room. And you may even make note of what is occurring within you. For example, if you feel guilty, you can say to yourself, okay, I am experiencing guilt. Okay, stay with the sensation until it starts to pass away. Journal all that you feel and all that you are feeling in this exercise. You write them down. That's very essential. If the feelings you experience don't subside in a reasonable amount of time, you may finish the exercise, journal your feelings, and then come back to the exercise. Okay? However, when you stay with these emotions without judging them, over a few iterations of this exercise, you will begin to experience a sense of calm and completion like you've never felt before. And that's the idea. The idea of doing this meditation that I guided you to, or you can call it visualization, was to allow you to complete that scenario that had been in the back of your mind unprocessed for such a long time, that was causing you to stop being radically self-accepting of yourself. Okay? All right. So acceptance and accepting the feelings in its entirety is what this course is all about. What self-acceptance is all about. If you can get one thing out of this course, I want you to get that acceptance of our feelings. Whatever's coming up at that moment, it's okay. It's okay for it to come up. You don't need to judge the feelings. You don't need to judge yourself for having those feelings. And you certainly don't need to ruminate about them after you've had those feelings. And this goes very contrary to what our ego is used to doing. Our ego is used to throwing us off, sending us in this downward spiral of thought process about, I feel like a little girl. I'm a grown man. I shouldn't be doing that. God knows what else. The social condition, what different cultural, social context you were born and raised in. I don't know that, but you know that. You know what kind of conditioning you've been through. And a lot of that could get triggered when these feelings are coming up. Okay? So feel these feelings. Instead of burying the event deep in your psyche and denying or deflecting or minimizing whatever happened or saying that it never even happened, move on to experience the feelings and empathy, and develop the empathy that is needed for the people that you ended up hurting. And that's the bigger piece, is feeling of empathy for the people that ended up being victimized by your actions. Okay? And when you feel the empathy, that's when the real healing happens. And that's when we start to accept ourselves, once we acknowledge that we have caused hurt to this other human being. It's very important, okay? You will begin to understand and accept the conditions that unfolded around this event so much better now that you've gone through this exercise. As you experience the enormity of your actions, you will find closure and the strength to never repeat the action again. One of the reasons that people that are serially involved in hurting other people one way or the other is because they never get to experience what it's like to hurt this other person. What are your own feelings? What's inside of you going on? Because our natural condition, our natural tendency for most human beings is of love. Okay? It's not to hurt other people. When we have started to hurt other people, that's because somewhere along the lines we ended up being hurt, and that's that hurt repeating itself, and it's going to continue repeating. So when you actually heal the side of you that has caused hurt to other people, you actually now are in the process of liberating yourself from repeating those actions, right? All right, so that's scenario one. In the next video, I'm going to guide you through the second scenario, okay? All right, peace.